Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I rise in support of Amendment 1 and Amendment 1A, and I want to clarify a couple of things that I heard earlier about the need for a fiscal note. And I absolutely made that argument from this very well maybe a week or two ago, and I argued about the necessity and the importance of a fiscal note. But then I thought, well, maybe I was wrong, and so we passed 4 pieces of legislation without a fiscal note to tell us how much something would cost. And so I had to look up the textbook definition of precedent. A precedent is an earlier event or action that is regarded as an example or guide to be considered in subsequent or similar circumstances. And so I believe that the precedent was established when we passed those 4 pieces of legislation a few weeks ago without fiscal notes, that the minority caucus decided that we would introduce these amendments since you all would move forward without a fiscal note on the impact of this bill to the state budget. And so now we're talking about the impact to the budget today, but now we've heard all session long the lectures on affordability. Well, folks can't afford health care, and this is health care for working people. This is health care for working folks. This is health care for people who need it. And guess what? This is your opportunity to do the right thing. And if you have to hold your nose and vote yes, you can turn your head and vote yes. But you could do the right thing on this legislation today to ensure that working folks have the opportunity to have the access to health care, and it is important. So let's not talk about affordability and just vain, repetitious words. Let's be serious about it. This is one opportunity that we can address the affordability in health care, and we can do something about health care to make sure that people can afford health care. This is not new legislation. We've debated this ad nauseum in this body, but guess what? Folks are still uninsured, underinsured, and in fact, we've spent more money on the program than we have on the health care for the people on the program. So let's talk about red tape and bureaucracy. This is our opportunity to do the right thing. So don't come and lecture the minority party, the minority caucus about affordability when you have the opportunity to make sure working folks have health care. That's what this is health care for working folks. Health care for small business owners that cannot afford to pay big premiums because they can't raise the wages, they can't cover the employer-sponsored portion of health care, but we could just do the right thing and vote yes on this legislation. And I know this would be a policy shift for many of you, but it's the right thing for working folks, and we can do that to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to have health care in this state, because I think we all could agree it is a travesty that folks could die without having health care. And Mr. President, with that, I want to remind everybody this isn't new. You set the precedent, majority party, that you've moved 4 pieces of legislation with no fiscal note. So my grandmother also told me what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So if it was good then and it's good now, let's vote yes and let's get this health care for working folks of this state. And with that, Mr. President, I yield the well.
All right, Senator.